What's good? It's your boy Czar, all rights reserved. One of the first major ideals that I wanted to speak about. All right. One thing you got to understand, especially when you come from this type of environment, one of the main reasons, or let's say one of the main things they want to do is stop you from speaking freely. Because when you freely speak and you're outside of the money, you see things a lot clearer. If you ever notice, a lot of people that are financially well off, when they lose that financial backing, they end up taking their life. Well, to some, logically, psychologically, you may think it's because they're facing a bad time. But no, the reason they do it is because their whole life overall becomes more about them working harder than they did at the time before, especially if they did not work to earn their right to even be in that position. That's why a lot of upper edge people who are filthy rich off themselves when they lose those riches. It's because honestly, most times it was passed down or handed to them in some way, shape, or form, and they do not see the ability to come up. Now, people that come up from nothing to become rich, they don't find it that hard, or they don't take it as hard, because they just say to themselves, I can do what I did to get there in the first place. That is why, or let's say that is how, you can tell the difference between someone who earned it and someone who did not. And it's so crazy and it's very scary to even think that those things, like something so important or a precedence, can be looked at to define whether or not somebody earned it. But it is the truth nonetheless. It is something that cannot be looked over. So that is the frame of mind you have to take when looking at situations around you. So that's why when I know somebody who's a political figure ends up taking themselves out because of situations like that, it leads to a whole new era and agenda of things occurring where they themselves take themselves out rather than life taking them out, because they already saw themselves a certain way. Now they change that perception, which means they did not have the courage to earn that perception in the first place if they take themselves out over something as minuscule as money. When money's not the end all be all, it's how you got it. And if you got it and earned it once, you should be able to earn it again. This is the frame of mind and thinking you have to use when examining these people of power. You can't just say someone's a bigot or something like that, or say they're, I'm trying to think of the other word I hear a lot of people use. They're some selfish pig or something with that's financially rich. It depends how they earned it. Now, you know this when they lose it, how they react. I know a lot of different, let's say, socialites that lost it all and earned it back. Lost it and earned it again, just 10 times more. And I know some people who lost it and decided to take matters into their own hands, sadly. But at the same time, it makes me wonder how you actually earned it, because you never kept working hard to re-earn it. You just decided this is the end for me, which means that there was a level of guilt in how you earned it in the first place. This is the ideology when looking at the human mind and how I can tell when someone earned their riches versus someone who had it handed to them. This is how I can easily discern blue collar from white collar, and then the wealthy from the people who earned it over time or was born that way. Now, I'm not using names for this part because when I read over it, it's real sad how I looked at the riches of the people. But I want to let you know, this was all stated to make this point right here. There is a theory that people take to the idea of Illuminati. They look at it as people who are super, super wealthy above the rest and could very well be reigning over top of everyone, looking down on them. Now, I am not saying that this does not exist. Get me? I'm not saying that this don't exist. But here's what I am saying. If we are going to look at life in that same manner, we have to look at how did the people who are less fortunate become less fortunate? Was it that they were rich, fell back, and they're trying to re-earn it? Or is it because that they did fail to do the things they needed to do to get to a place of even being well off? Now, the resources of our country right now at any time, at this precedent time, seem to be in favor of those who are more fortunate because costs are very high. But I want you to look at it a certain way. Even though we have these high gas prices, and another thing, even though we're also dealing with food shortages allegedly to come, keep in mind that it is not about the money. It is about the knowledge on how to acquire and maintain wealth. So it's less about how much I earn and more about whether or not I can maintain that wealth in my life, my given lifestyle, and how can I preserve and increase that wealth regardless of the certain investments others are making. How can I invest in myself to maintain wealth at a faster rate or acquire it faster? These are the ideologies that are going to be most important in your current future to far future, and what you need to teach to your children in order to keep their mind right. Because understand this, the outlier, it doesn't even matter about wealth right there. If somebody does not understand their worth of their life, the worth of their hard work, then it won't matter whether or not they have the ability or mindset to take themselves out or not. They will be quick to do it regardless because they have nothing to hold to. They have no vision of self-worth. Without the vision of self-worth, it doesn't matter how rich you get, you'll always lose. If you don't know what you're worth, you'll never win. That's the main thing. And this is something that I think in the near future is more precedent. Now, I'm not saying what you see in the news about different genders, different thoughts, different characteristics isn't important. What I am saying, be very careful where you put emphasis of power. You don't put it on the things you're told. You put it on the things in your immediate life. If it's your children, put it on teaching them what to do. If it's your dog, put it on making sure your dog's well off. Put it on making sure the things happen to increase the worth of the life force behind what it is you value. That is the ultimate goal of what you want to do. Because money can come and go. Moments can come and go when it comes to financial backings, well off, investments. Like this money goes. It's paper. Don't put your worth in paper. Put your worth on you. And then that will come to you. You feel me? I found it very important to let you know on this episode of In the Bricks, because I'm telling you, just as quick as you rose to the occasion, you can wind up back in the bricks.